Some hypnotists and NLP masters appear as having almost magical powers sometimes. And that can become your case too, you can get at this level. However, the road to get there will probably seem counterintuitive compared to what you may have expected. My biggest perception on that comes down to sensory acuity and mind reading, or what is known into NLP as mind reading, which can be a positive connotation or a negative connotation. Let's get a very clear example. Many people will attach in their day-to-day life and environment, they will attach physical behaviors or physical manifestations with internal meanings of their own. They will judge somebody's internal state based on their outside behavior. Example, you are not smiling, or you are being moody, or you didn't say hello, means you are mad at me, which is a presupposition that will sometimes be maybe true and sometimes will be false. So of course, with the people you encounter, with the people around you, sometimes you are right, sometimes you say this person must feel this way, this person must not like you, this person must like you. Sometimes you will be right. The problem though is that even if everyone believes to be a perfect mind reader, and I would say women can be right on this because they are usually way more intuitive, but even them can be mistaken and can make mistakes. So the big problem is to presuppose you always know what people think and feel before doing something else prior to that. The main issue I want to elaborate on is that those assumptions, whenever you think you know what's going on into somebody's head, whenever you think you know why your client is being resistant or whatever, those assumptions will come from your state, your current state, and your judgments about the people around you will be based on which emotional state are you into at this specific moment. If you feel like shit from the beginning of the day, every assumption you're gonna have about people around you will be negative, or most of it. You will presuppose that nobody likes you, you will presuppose that everyone has just made a compromise to make you experience a bad day. You will just have those inner talk inside your head, expressing how negative you think people are, whereas maybe the only person negative right now is you, or the only person who is being sad and in a low mood or in a bad mood and feeling low, feeling kind of depressed. Maybe you are in that state and therefore you presuppose everyone around you is cannot change, the world around you is stuck and people around you are not being responsive, receptive. That still comes from you. If you change your state, they will change and you will change the assumptions you have about what to say to this person, how to persuade them, how to calm down somebody who may be irritated. You will not have those right intuitions unless you can change your state from the inside. So on the opposite, instead of presupposing you are an expert, which you are not, I am not either, no one is, on how do people feel, what I recommend is to stop your assumptions about, oh yeah, I know how she feels, I know how he thinks. You don't know shit, you question. You ask questions. When you have an assumption in your head, you ask for verification. How do you feel? Can you tell me about this topic? What are your thoughts on that? And then you will verify. You will test. You have a presupposition that this person have this opinion. Test. Ask them what do they think. I know it seems overly simplistic, but so few people do that most people around are still miscommunicating and misbehaving and getting into confrontations that lead nowhere because they don't understand each other, because they don't ask simply. Ask, what do you think about this? How do you feel about that? And next, maybe sometimes you will notice that indeed you had the right intuition. You thought this, actually this was what the person was thinking about or feeling in that moment. And sometimes you will be completely wrong. Especially all those guys who are like 19, 20 who start to get into I want to get a girlfriend, they presuppose that every girl around you wants bad for them and wants to treat them bad and are just narcissistic and just don't pay attention to them, which is pretty far from the truth. At that age, everyone is lost anyway about dating, so just because you're a guy doesn't mean women are more advanced than you. Same thing if you're a girl, guys are not more advanced, they are at the same level of being completely lost. But when they are 20, 21, guys are usually presupposing that if they talk to that one, they will get rejected. How do you know? Did you at least try it? Sometimes you will actually get a smile. Why not try it? And you can see that in many contexts of life, people just presuppose they know what's going on in the subject they have, their listener. They don't. They just don't, and you would need to ask that person how do they feel, fish for information, go through the verification process. What questions can you ask them to notice what's going on inside their head? And if they are really just being non-responsive, they just don't want to communicate, it is, well, sometimes it will just be the wrong person anyway, but many times it will be because you were in the wrong state. And for that reason, you asked really bad questions because maybe you were nervous or you were uncomfortable, and therefore you have only thought about really bad questions to ask. Or maybe since you were eventually uncomfortable, tense, irritated inside, people just responded unconsciously to your state. And they may get really negative response at your face just because they have noticed, they have communicated with your internal state. If you were in a shitty state, feeling bad or feeling super anxious, you will cause people to feel bad around you, whether you want it or not. So the whole path to become a master hypnotist or stuff like that, it really comes down to influencing your own state, because when you can master your own state, first of all, be aware of what state you are into at any moment of the day, and then being able to act upon and challenge your own state by yourself, then you will trigger many positive responses from the people around you, because unconsciously they will respond to how you feel inside. Another example of this sensory acuity problem is something we were seeing back then into old NLP trainings. It was examples of phrases like this: I don't see why I shouldn't do it, all my friends are doing it. Out of no context, it is a phrase like this. Which presuppositions can you identify? Which one is true? Which one is not verified? From all the four below that. Actually, you may have your opinion right now, but the only one that can be verified up to that point is this one. And I know you may have been tempted to argue, oh yes, but the first one is also true because blah blah blah. That phrase up there, I don't see why I shouldn't do it, that phrase has no context yet. You don't know who it is, you don't know who I'm talking about, you may have had an imagination, an idea in your mind of who might that person be, but it is not verified yet. You did not question yet, you don't know who it is, you don't know what was the context around. So up to that point, the only phrase that can be, the only presupposition and assumption that can be verified linguistically at this point is this one. The other ones, maybe they are true, but they need to be questioned. They need verification before you can assertively say that, oh, it is also a problem that this person feels this or that. You don't know yet. You will need to question that person to verify your assumption. And the point, therefore, is that once you have gotten through this process enough times, at some point, yes, at some point your intuition has been so well deeply rooted with failures, where you have questioned your assumption and you have noticed you were wrong. When this happened enough times, then yes, then you can just see one person and notice, okay, he feels like that, therefore he thinks this, and I need to say that. That will happen down the road when you have a gathered experience. Or if you have been in sales, for example, before, then you definitely have some experience like that. In the beginning, though, you don't have that yet, and you need to question up to the point where it becomes automatic, and you can size, seize, notice, check people from the inside. You can check the inside of people from the outside. You can notice how they feel from the outside, as the perceptual position exercise, noticing if you put yourself in their shoes, what do they feel? And from there, yes, you will have the right assumptions, you will know what to say, and you will always be able to adapt to any social situation. I really want to emphasize on this failure idea, and I came across this not long ago. It was the failing upwards concept, meaning that you can consider failure a good thing if you keep failing in different manners. So if you fail always in the same way at what you are learning, at your language skills, whatever, if you are failing always in the same way with always the same blockage or blockages, then you are doing something wrong. However, if you keep failing, but you keep failing in different ways all the time, then it means you are failing upwards, and at some point you will discover the one tweak, the one change that will make you successful in whatever you are learning. As long as you keep seeing new unseen territories, then you're doing good anyway. It is only bad and looping in circles if you keep stumbling upon the same wall all the time. Then it's wrong, you're doing something wrong. But if you are failing in new ways and seeing new situations you were not prepared for yet, then it's a good thing, you are doing the right thing anyway. And anyway, if you want to develop your skills with that, we have some documents down below you can check. One on the fundamentals of neuro-linguistic programming, where you can notice where are you in terms of your confidence, self-confidence, and how can you accelerate your learning no matter what you are developing right now as a project in your life. And you have one document on sleight of mouth to develop your skill set with language skills, with language patterns, and to bypass objections or limiting beliefs whenever you communicate with people around you. That is down below in the description. Thank you for listening and see you soon.